everybody. It's Dr. Sarah Gordon of the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. It's really good to be back. I've taken a little bit of a break. I've been out in the world traveling a little bit and learning and coming back with kind of just a different mindset about what this platform is going to be about. And I'm honored to have, do you want me to say Nick or Nicholas?
Next time.
Okay, I'm really honored to have Nick Kelly on the show to just have a real conversation about his life, about the things that he's overcome in his life, and how joyful and positive and inspiring he is. Because really, at the end of the day, we're all hopefully trying to live our best lives. And it's never a straight path. I say it all the time. I've said it so many times over the past year. It's never a straight path. We have lots of challenges and things to grow through. But Nick's story is really unique, and I'm excited to let him share it. And then I have some questions for him so we can all learn from him. So, Nick, welcome to the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us where you are and what you're doing right now in your life.
So I am from Cleveland, Ohio, CLE, born and raised. So I currently live in Cleveland. Currently, I'm working on I'm still working as a dietitian, so I'm a dietitian by profession, but I'm a public speaker by trade, so I travel the country doing different talks. So that's always going to be my primary focus. But I'm also an author and an artist, so I have those things under my belt. So I'm always trying to find what my next project is, staying busy with what's next, what's on the horizon.
And when I always have a phone call with my guests before I record a podcast episode, and we did something together with poetry. What did you call that?
I do freestyle poetry.
Freestyle poetry. So I would like to try that today. So we'll see. We'll see if we get a good rhythm towards the end, maybe of the podcast episode,
Maybe.
or whenever you want. But so Nick, so why are you doing what you're doing right now? Like, why are you out there in talking to people and motivating people? Why should they listen to you?
I just am built on sharing my passion. I think passion is the single most important quality a person can have. And I love sharing my knowledge and expertise. I feel like if I can just share my message and it resonates with one person, that's one more person I've affected in a positive way.
And how much do you want to share about your story and your journey?
I'm an open book.
All right, let's
My
start. Let's
story is
start
here to be
from,
learned.
all right, let's start from your childhood. Let's start with,
So I was di-
go ahead.
so I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at 3 months old. The interesting thing about that story is not that I was sick as a child, but it was actually my mother who diagnosed me. Why? Because 39 years ago, they didn't think African Americans could have the disease, so no one would test me for it. So it
Wow.
was actually my mother who learned the research, and she was the one who diagnosed me. And then growing up, I have siblings, and I was held to the same standards growing up. I had open heart surgery when I was 5 years old. So I spent 6 months in the hospital. So even at an early age, the hospital has been an important part of my story. And then in my teenage years, I was an athlete. I played baseball and wrestling, and I did those both at a high level. So I was able to be involved in athletics. I was able to really be a normal kid for all intents and purposes.
Can you do me a favor to share with our audience, because I don't know if everybody knows what is cystic fibrosis and what does that
So,
disease trajectory look like in terms of you having to manage it?
so cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder that primarily affects the lungs, pancreas, and GI system. What they don't tell you when you sign up for the disease, it affects everything else.
Right.
So the disease progress is it's progressive, so it is terminal. It, we are made a lot of positive and amazing strides in the CF community, which has been amazing to see and amazing to be a part of and witness. Because I'm one of the luckier ones who's been able to see many years past my expiration date, if you will.
Yeah. Is, you know, a lot of living with disease, chronic illness, or when you, I guess you're born with cystic fibrosis.
Yes, so you're born with
That's,
cystic
okay.
fibrosis.
A lot of life is attitude. And when I met you, when we had our first phone call, I mean, I think I read that, but I don't, that doesn't define you in any way. No, let me take that back. It's part of you, but you're so much bigger than it. And so how do you get there? How do you become so much bit? I know it's part of who you are, but how do you become such a brighter light beyond that?
I think there's a bunch of things to attribute to that. First, I have to attribute my family who never allowed myself to look at as sick. They never allowed me to look as sickly or be seen as different. And
Good.
so that kind of state shaded, or excuse me, that kind of laid the foundation. And that foundation I was able to build on top of and just realize I am one person, and it CF is just one part of my story. It doesn't define me, but it has helped shape me to who I've become.
Yeah. Do you have physically, do you challenge, is it challenging day to day in your day? I'm, you only share as much as you want, but because I want to get to like how motivational you are. And I want people to have an understanding of like, okay, maybe you have something hard going on in your life today, but you can still choose to smile and to shine bright. So do you physically feel discomfort every
So,
day?
fatigue. I take 40. I'm responsible for 40 medications a day. So I feel fatigued often. So CF, what happens is it builds this thick, sticky mucus inside the body, which plugs up things, especially in the lungs. That thick, sticky mucus causes bacteria to attract to it. That bacteria eventually causes scarring, which eventually decreases your lung function. So I'm stuck with a lot of days where I'm feeling fatigued, where it's just a struggle. Um, and that's just one part of the story. I also have diabetes, so I have that to manage. I have some other comorbidities that I'm all trying to manage. So each day for me is just a different grind to manage my health.
Okay. So thank you for that honesty and vulnerability because I feel like I struggle a lot with more like, mental health issues because I just carry a lot, I think very deeply about things and it's hard to go through life when you are a deep thinker about life. Um, and so I think if we're open and we're honest and vulnerable, hold on, let me just make sure you can hear me. It says my internet connection is unstable. But I think when you're open and honest and vulnerable, then you realize we're all, we have so much similarities in things in life. We have a lot, and it's really how we choose to live our lives, right? I choose to exercise and put positive things in my life that help me grow and to help other people shine. And I think you do the same. So give us some examples of how when you go out in the world, what do people say to you? Like are they say do they do you how do you inspire them? Because I think the more honest and vulnerable I am on this platform, the more I can help people and say like your life matters, you matter, and you have a purpose and shine bright.
So for me, I've heard a little bit of it all. I've heard I'm not gonna make it to, I was told I wasn't make it to 1 years old. I was told I wasn't gonna make it till two, till after five. I wasn't gonna make it till 10, 13, 16. And at that point, they just stopped counting me out. So I've heard all of that. In college, I had professors questioning me why I went to college if I knew I was going to be sick. Like I've heard, all of the things like you're not meant to do this because of these situations. You're not able to do it. I've had mental health issues where people would say, you know, you're you're never going to be able to succeed with that type of mental health. And so I've heard it all. I've been a part of all the conversations. And for me, it's just motivation to prove everyone wrong.
So I've shared this a few times on my show. I had a professor in my second class. I had him for 16 weeks. I had this one professor for 16 straight weeks. They were 8-week courses. And I had two back-to-back courses with him. And he told me I wasn't going to be successful. I would not get my PhD because I didn't have a strong exercise science background. My background's in psychology. And so I call them the naysayers. And I heard a lot of it too. The why would you do this? And you're not going to be successful. And I have to tell you, recently, I've been listening to some of the most successful motivational voices out there, right? They've all had that. They've all had all the people on the sidelines telling them why they aren't going to be successful at something. So, what is that? You know, what is that?
People without vision are unable to see vision.
Wait, I'm going to
And
say that again. People without vision are
are
unable
unable to
to see
see
vision.
vision.
Okay, I love that. Go ahead.
So that really is something that I've just learned with people aren't able to see it. They're so close to their environment. They aren't able to see there's more past that. They can become tunnel vision. So they aren't able to see the things that they didn't know were there, or they're unable to imagine the things that aren't there. It is not hard nosed tangible. It's like, no, I'm working towards something. They might not understand it, but it's not for them to understand.
So, it's being a visionary,
Yeah,
and not everybody is a visionary. You're right.
not everybody is at all.
Yeah. I mean, not to be corny, but I always had a vision of having somebody like yourself, present on this podcast because I think that you can teach people how to just put one step forward and believe in yourself. Really. That's really what we're all here trying, most of us, to accomplish in different ways, is to thrive and to enjoy our lives. And so every time somebody would tell you what you can't do, I love that you internalized it like, well, yeah, I'm going to show you what I can do. And that's turning negativity into positivity. Ooh, there's the start of a free-flowing poem, I think, right there.
There you go.
Yeah, we turn negativity into positivity
Understand that those things coincide and co-align. Everything we do will coincide.
because through it all, we're gonna climb.
There it goes.
All right, that's the first free-flowing poem because we both, I'm a poet. I write poetry too, so okay. Well, so tell me, what are you doing right now? What types of groups are you talking to, and who do you who's listening, and what's the vision?
So I talk to a lot of like clinicians and future clinicians.
Okay.
I talk to a lot of those. I'm expanding out to talking to different people, who need to hear about, overcoming obstacles, living with passion, and understanding how finding passion, utilizing purpose, increases productivity. So that's just something, a passion of mine as well, because as I mentioned, passion is the single greatest attribute a person can have.
What is passion?
Passion is that internal desire, that internal flame for something.
How do you find it if you've lost it?
Hold on, say that again.
How do you find it if you feel like you've lost it or you don't know how to find it? How do you find it? I have a
I,
thought about it, but you go ahead.
I tell people trying things is the first step to finding passion. You never know what's going to spark you and what's going to spark your interest. So, and if you have an idea, explore it more, get into the nitty gritty, get into the weeds a little bit, because things you're passionate about, you'll be able to navigate through, and you get excited about navigating through.
So true. I like to say, what is something where you feel most alive or you feel most authentically yourself? And you have to try things to figure that out. You have to allow yourself to fail. And I don't mean fail like everything in your life kind of falls apart. I mean fail like, okay, I tried oil painting and I can't stand it. I need to move more. Okay. I went out for a jog and I can't stand that. I want to maybe walk. Like you have to try things and and be open to like fumbling in that. And I think then you do. Then you find something that like clicks where you just really feel like yourself in it and you feel alive in it.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. It's just that ability to try things and ability to navigate, and give yourself the opportunity to find passion.
Yeah, I love that. So, okay. So let me ask you this. Um, based on your life ex first of all, how old are you? If you don't
I'm
mind me,
39.
I hope you don't mind me asking. So you're
No,
39.
I'm 39. Yep.
Yeah, so you've had a lot of t moments in your life that I guess hopefully not so much now, where you said people were telling you everything that you couldn't do. I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to go to college and why wouldn't you want to try sport? Like, I just struggle with that. I'm sorry that you had to deal with all the naysayers and the negativity, but I truly believe successful people, they become more successful and more at peace internally because they really are taking the steps for themselves, you know, because they have a
Absolutely.
vision. Go ahead. We might have a delay, so go ahead.
Oh, I just think, having that mind state is really what carries me through. Having creating a mind state of resilience, a mind state of hope and desires, and that's what carries me through.
I love it. How important is music? I see your shirt. How important is music?
Huge part. Music is my lifeline. I absolutely love music. It is what fuels me. It's what, when I'm having a great day, I love to go. If I'm having a bad day, I love to hear it. If I'm DJing, I got into DJing because I love music. So just music is everything to me.
You know what? Me too. Music it energizes me, it calms me, it inspires me. There's so much to it, so much depth to music, so much to learn about new music. And um, yeah, I'm the same way that way. Artistically, you're creative artistically.
Yes, so I have been poetry, as we mentioned. Poetry is my first love. I was a professional dancer for 12 years. I DJ. I am a photographer. I also know how to draw. So I'm big into the arts.
So you're very creative. How important has that been in your journey towards managing cystic fibrosis?
Huge. It's absolutely huge, especially dance. Not only is it the exercise portion, but it's a way to express myself with my body when I can't find the words.
Hmm, that's awesome. Um, what do you want to ask me anything? I usually just ask my guests, but do you want to ask me anything?
Yeah, so tell me, you talked about some of the resilience things you went through. What type of things give you hope?
People like you, really. I feel like we when you connect with people that understand, when people are honest enough, several people on my show who shared some of the things that they've gone through. And when you're honest enough to say, hey, I'm not perfect. Hey, it wasn't always perfect. It was hard at times, but I learned resilience. I learned not to give up on myself. I had amazing people in my life that reminded me that I mattered. Um, community. And when you start to learn that you are ultimately in control of your life and you can move your life in the direction that has meaning and purpose, you start to meet other people like that. Like you and I are very much aligned. I mean, we really, if you look at us. We don't look alike. We've grown up in different areas, we have different life experiences, but we have a very similar human experience, humanness, right? So the things that give me hope are people such as yourself. I just shared with you before we started to record. I was in Hoboken, New Jersey this weekend. I was dog sitting my grand dog. I was walking around the city. I just stumbled upon a outrigger. I think they call it outriggers. Like they're rowing on the Hudson River. There's a whole community of rowers and they're out there. And I just happened to walk up to a tent and it happened to be a nonprofit for breast cancer survivors. And they just were just doing such incredible work to help inspire people, to give people hope. And even though, I mean, knock on wood, I'm not a breast cancer survivor, but I've had other challenges in my life, but I could feel their message. Like I could understand what they're trying to do. And so that gives me hope that people are out there trying to help other people. And so that's what it was for me. Human connections, and exercise. Exercise always been my lifeline. Um, Running, managing things in my life and good people and just I don't know. I don't know why we get tested. Perhaps we get tested to just find internal strength. I always say strength for the journey within. So I think lots of people, I don't think anybody in life goes through life a straight line and it's just perfect. I think everybody has challenges. It's how you use them to create the life that you want for yourself. And I choose to use things in a positive way and then to try to help other people who might be a little bit further behind me and help to pull them forward. So that's what gives me hope and that's what gives me direction and purpose in my life.
That's amazing. I think, like, you hit on it, just being able to get a message that resonates, even if it's not your story, it still connects to that humanness. And you're able to feel that. You're able to, it's like palpable. It's like you can feel it, you can touch it,
It
you know
is.
what it feels like.
I do. I know what, I do to a certain degree. I can't know what it feels like to have cystic fibrosis, right? I can't know what it is to be a breast cancer survivor right now. I can't know, there's certain things I can't know at the depth that you know, but I understand what it feels like um to want to give up and to pull yourself out of that and then to use those moments to um never give up on yourself ever and then to show other people that they can overcome things too. So that's just the honest and vulnerable truth today. And my podcast will always be about encouraging people never to give up on themselves and to believe in themselves. It's always will talk about self-determination theory. It's a theoretical framework that gives us a lens to look at what human flourishing looks like. It's about these basic psychological needs of autonomy, competence, and relatedness, which means that autonomy is Nick, you deciding to go to college, you deciding to play sports, you deciding to do all the things that you've decided to do in your life, even though people told you can't do it, you shouldn't do it, and why it wouldn't work. But you still did it. That's autonomy. Competence is what we said about trying things, learn skills, gather skill, learn a new language, take a painting class, go, learn something, try a new job, blah, blah, all those things, gain these competence and skill sets because that's where you gain confidence and you figure out what you truly love to do. And relatedness is having not isolating yourself. right? This podcast is about building a community. The people who listen, our audience, this is a community, right? There's lots of ways to have a community. You can have it through music, through art, through sports, through work, through every book club, I mean, poetry. Find a community because humans aren't meant to live in isolation. We're meant to have connections. And so that's it. That's what self-determination theory says. When we move our lives in those directions, we become much more intrinsically motivated. We find enjoyment in life, and then ultimately we can flourish and we can thrive. And I just came back from overseas. I was in Geneva, Switzerland. I gave a presentation at the Ninth International Conference on Self-Determination Theory. I would love for you to be at the next one. It's in 2029. It'll be in Quebec, Canada. I think you should be there, part of
Okay.
that community. There are about 800 of us from around the world, and looking at self-determination theory from business perspective, academics, like school, K through 12, health, wellness, mental health, sports, policy, all kinds of different angles to look at how can we all live our best lives within self-determination theory framework. So, yeah, it's all good stuff. It's all the opposite of negativity, oppression, discrimination, all that negative junk in the world. This is the opposite. This is so
I
how can
love
we all
that.
shine? How can we all shine and live our best lives and help each other?
Like you putting in the, setting the feet in motion,
Yeah.
getting the wheels in motion and, laying the groundwork for people to ultimately, get the opposite of the negativity.
Yeah, and I think here's what I'd like to say to anybody listening to us today. What feels better? I mean, just ask yourself that simple question. When do you feel better? Do you feel better when you go down these rabbit holes like of negativity or self-pity or why me or I can't do it or it'll never work. Um, maybe they're right. What is all that? Where's the growth in all of that? There isn't. There isn't any. The growth is taking one step forward, believing in yourself, having some fear because it's normal. Because when you try new things, I'm sure it was scary for you to try sports or things that people told you shouldn't do. But when you put yourself in that fear, you grow. And growth, we're living, breathing human organisms. We're meant to grow and thrive and live dynamically. And I think that's where we can find opportunities to live our best lives. Amen. That was my little.
Yeah, that was very, yeah, silly. I love it. I love it.
All right, I want to.
Dropping gems.
Well, I don't really know what else I'm supposed to do, honestly. I feel like that's just my personality. I feel like connecting with somebody like you, we are here to tell people like, just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself.
It's such a simple concept, but it can be so difficult for people to do. And I tell everyone like your purpose comes from within. Like your passion comes from within. Your purpose is your external display of passion. So, showcasing your passion is what purpose is. So finding that internal passion is what's going to be most important for you. And use that to fuel yourself. Use that to catapult you into different heights, different stratospheres you didn't know you could reach.
I'm trying to come up with see, I don't know if I can do free-flowing poetry because I'm a writer. I'm a deep thinker, like writer type. So
Yeah,
I want to try it because I think it's fun. I think it would be fun to just be out there and be like, somebody say something. I think I want to fly. Yeah, me too. Let's reach for the sky. Uh,
It's a skill I've taken for a while, but I use like word association. That's
okay.
helped me like really learn. So, if someone gives me a word and then you build off that concept. So you do concept training and word association. And
Okay,
that's really helped me.
let's use the word hope. Let's try it.
Okay.
Take your time. It's fine. We just this is our time.
All right. Hope. Hope is what we strive for. Hope is what we're looking for in every essence and every day we pray and every day we pray that our hope will get better. HOPE got me looking at me, thinking about that mirror inside, that man in the mirror. The man in the mirror is what I try to find. He is what lies in my side of my hope. Every time I think about it, I try to go crazy. But when I start thinking about it, it's something sent me. Oh man, I got me feeling lazy. But I got to get off the couch. I got to drive. I got to go. I sometimes have to know that hope is inside of me, but I can't see to find it. Sometimes I'm missing without it. I need to hit this button, rewind it.
And I'm gonna add, nope, nope, nope. We've heard it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, nope, nope.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go. Don't give up on hope. No. Hope is the opposite of nope.
Hope is the opposite of no.
All right. Well, I'm inspired by you. I'm proud of you for just rising above all the other stuff that you've had to deal with. I think that we both smile sometimes when we know things are hard behind the smile. But I always say it feels so much better to smile, you know, and to help other people smile and to lift each other up. Up, up, up.
Up, up, up and away.
That one's too easy.
Yep. See, I'll take
Okay.
low hanging fruit.
All right, wait. Up, and away, they say. Let's just all go have some fun and play. You know why? Because every day, who's to say? We don't know.
There you go, functional. You start with a word and you start to build.
There you go. Let's let's wrap up the show. And you never know.
You
Uh
never know.
you never know. So go, go, go. I sound more like Dr. Seuss. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
You sound a
yeah.
little bit more creative.
It's a process. I've been doing this for a real long time,
I like
so
thinking to
it
myself.
is. It becomes a process. You definitely, and you find your navigational flow, like your cadence. That's another thing that really helps me because I know what my cadence is. So
Okay,
it's a
well,
simple, it's a 4 bar bar. So everything I do, I approach it in stand. I approach it in a stand, or I can start to speed up and understand. So it's like I know what my format is, if you will. So that also helps me.
oh my gosh, this is fun. I'm gonna try. Now do that. Are there ever like venues where you can just go up on stage? I know there's free, like poetry readings, but are there things where people go up and do that? Freestyle poetry?
Yeah, yeah. So poet events are really great. Where there's gonna be art. Art events are another one where you'll see it as well. A lot of people write, still write. I'm just one of those people. Like I'm not good at memorizing my poetry, so I learned to become more efficient in freestyle writing, or not reading, but I've become more efficient in using freestyle poetry instead of writing.
Do you write music too?
I haven't written music in my since I was in college,
Okay. Hmm.
but I love music. Like I said, I do love music.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, okay, what is what tell us what's on the horizon for you?
Um, Speaking engagements, always looking for speaking engagements. Always want to engage in individuals, like just helping them. Um, Trying to figure out what's next. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out my next project. When I finish my cookbook, and I finished my children's book, it was like, okay, I've done these goals, I've knocked them out. Now what's going to be next for me?
Huh. Tell us about your cookbook. Tell us about those books. See,
So my cook,
you drop these little things, and I'm like, there's so much here. I'm just gonna have to dig for it. Tell me about your books.
so my cookbook is called No Need for Seconds, a high calorie cookbook. So it was a 7 year process for me to finish that cookbook because I had so many things go wrong, but I kept doing it. I kept grinding away, and I love how it came out. Um, the primary, so there's like high calorie foods and comfort foods. So, everyone can use it. The original population, target population was athletes, CF, failure to thrive, cancer, pre and post chemo, and then snapshot weight management. But it's really for anybody who just wants a delicious meal. Um, and then my children's book are the adventures of Miss Messy Susie Magoo and her Cuff Cough crew, her respiratory zoo, and her enzyme crew. So it's about a little girl named Susie Magoo who has cystic fibrosis who learns different therapies a part of her health. So I'm co-author and co-illustrator on those books.
That's amazing. If Where can you find those books?
All those books are on Amazon,
So
so you can find all the books.
would they put Nicholas Kelly in there and it'll come
Yeah,
up?
you can. It'll come Nicholas Kelly, and they should be able to come up. So, or like I said, no need for seconds, or Susie Magoo. So that's Suzie Magoo, MCGOO, and they'll come up as well.
I love that. No Need for Seconds is the cookbook, and
Yep,
Susie McGill.
is the children's books.
And is that when did you come up with that name because of like the lungs and the like you said the thick mucus in your lungs? Is that what that was?
No,
McGill?
to, my co-author came up with the name for Susie Magoo. Actually,
I love that name because
yeah, she came up with the name.
because you could kind of think there's that parallel there, even though, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I never asked her what like prompted her to do it, but she was the one who thought of Susie Magoo's name.
So when you said the cookbook, I'm just curious because I am actually getting ready to start my own journey on writing a book. I'm giving myself about a year. So when you say 7 years, maybe a year is too lofty of a goal. What were some of the, I'm just curious, and my audience perhaps they might be curious, like if you want to write a book, like what were some of the setbacks?
Um, so there's a lot of stuff I didn't know when I first wrote when I first was getting into the cookbook, and originally I hired a chef to do the recipes. All I wanted to do was the nutrition analysis and the writing, but my chef ended up kind of messing me over. I had multiple chefs kind of either mess me over or play, not take it serious. So I ended up having to write all the recipes myself. And so that was a big difference. And like, I'm not a chef, but I understand how flavors come together. Excuse me.
No,
I
that's
understand how
okay.
flavors come together. And that's my real skill set.
Do you think that was a blessing in disguise?
Uh, it was something.
But I mean,
It was something.
you end up writing your own recipes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it took a lot of time. Like I said, it took a lot of Wayworth and just really creative thinking and thinking outside the box of how I can make something normal or something standard be something unique
Yeah,
without making it too difficult.
that's awesome. Okay, well, um, what I have one more question, and I know if you're getting tired, we'll wrap up. But why dietitian? Why is the nutrition? I mean, I know nutrition's important, but why is that such a focus in your life? Was that what you learned in terms of managing cystic fibrosis?
Could you repeat the middle part of that question again? Sorry.
Why are you a dietitian? Why is nutrition so important in your life?
So it's funny. That's actually a funny story. I became a dietitian. So I went to college to be for computer technology. I wanted to build like the biometric standards the FBI uses, but when I got to college, they got rid of the major and they incorporated computer science, but I coded in multiple different languages. I hated them all. So my twin sister went to BG as I went to Bowling Green State University. So my twin sister went there as well, and she was taking this nutrition class, and she tried to get me in the class, say, "Hey, will you take it?" I said no. Came back, well, hey, my friends are in there. I was like, "You won't be alone?" No. And then she put me a proposal like, "Hey, I'll help you in with the homework, and all you got to do is the in-class assignments." I was like, "Okay." I finally go. I went to class the next day, and the professor's name was Dr. Jillian Wilford, Dr. Joe. And I just remember him sitting talking about nutrition. He wasn't a dietitian, but the way he talked about nutrition, it was like the single greatest puzzle I'd ever heard. And I literally walked out of class, called my mom, said, "Mom, how do you feel if I was a dietitian?" I changed my major the next day.
Wow.
So that's actually how I became a dietitian.
How many years has it go?
So
How long has that been?
I've been a dietitian for 14 years.
Wow. Can you give us one? I know this is a hard question, and I just have one or two more questions, and we'll be done. But can you give us like one main piece, like something for us all to like consider as far as nutrition?
Mindfulness,
What is it?
mindfulness. That's the
Mindfulness.
biggest thing. Yeah. So what that is just being aware. And so if you become mindful of your choices, because there's no such thing as bad food. There's healthy food and less healthy food. You can't cheat on food. There's no cheat days. You can't cheat on food. It's just you're making healthier options or less healthier options. And if you can be mindful enough to try to make healthier options more often than you're making non-healthy options, you'll be in a good position.
That's good. I like that simple. It's a simple enough for us to do. I mean, just be mindful, slow down and be mindful of what we put in our mouth. You know,
Yeah.
I was traveling back yesterday, driving down the New Jersey Turnpike. I stopped at a service stop. There are not that many healthy choices in those places.
No, there is not.
I mean, it was hard. I really looked at every menu. How do I do this? How do I make a healthy choice here? It was tough.
But that goes into, being mindful is making more healthy choices than unhealthy choices. Sometimes you don't have a choice. And
Yeah.
also food is meant to be enjoyed. So you still want that element. Food is meant to be enjoyed. So you put those pieces together and that allows you to navigate through the situation. So you ultimately get the best out of the nutrition you're looking for.
I think that's excellent wisdom. Thank you. I'm going to take that to heart for myself too. So I like to ask all my guests this question at the end, and I feel like you can interpret it really whether you're training for a triathlon or you're writing a book or you're just training for life. So I'm going to ask you this question. You can answer it any way you want, figuratively, metaphorically, literally. And then I'm going to give you the final words to share with our audience what you think they need to hear from Nicholas Kelly. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Nicholas Kelly, what are we training for?
That's a good question. I'm training to be better than I was yesterday. I think my goal is always to improve. So I train to make sure that I can be the best version of myself every day, even if yesterday was a tough day and tomorrow might be worse. But if I can put my 2 feet forward, then that's what's ultimately going to be most important for me. So I'm training for excellence.
I love it. And what do you want to, any final wisdom or words that you want to share with our audience?
I mentioned it earlier, but I want to mention it again. Passion. I think passion is the one thing. If anyone takes anything away from Nick, like it let him know that he lives with passion. And I think every single person, if you find passion, you utilize purpose and increase productivity. And that's not like just a bottom line, but productivity is any element that increases how successful you are in an activity. Your productivity, you become more productive with your family, you become more active with your kids, those different things, you become better at work. there's always these different levels, but that all starts with finding passion.
I'm so glad that we can. I don't even remember how we originally found each other. I'm not sure.
Uh, email.
Somehow. But I am so grateful that we've connected and that you came on the show. I would love to have you back, follow you on your projects and watch you continue to grow and shine. And I'll practice my free-flowing poetry and
There you go.
we'll have some
We
fun
can build
together.
it up.
We'll
We'll have some
build it
fun.
up, up, up. That's where we're going, to the top.
That's where we're going.
Never gonna stop.
Never gonna stop. Never gonna stop. Never gonna stop.
Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us today on the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. It was an honor to have you on the show to learn from you and to hear your story. And I hope that if you're listening to us today, that it resonates with you in some way, that you recognize that we're all perfectly imperfect. I love that expression because none of us have all the answers. We're all trying to do it every day the best that we possibly can. Give ourselves some grace when we maybe fall backwards and use them as learning experiences, but never give up. Never give up on yourself and enjoy your day. Enjoy life. It's a short journey. We're all so blessed to be here. Nicholas Kelly, thank you for being on the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, be back soon, everybody.
All right.
All right, bye, everybody. Thank you.